Okay, in case anybody needs help starting over or starting a new project, that's okay. We've all been there. That is knitting, and that's all right. So here's the cast on again. Or maybe you finished and you're starting a new project. That would be incredible too. So my yarn's a little wrinkly because I keep pulling out my stitches, but I'm making a slip knot first by starting with that loop. Here comes my tail. I make a new loop, and then you can actually kind of pull on the loop to get it to tighten, and then pull on the tail to get it to be smaller. Okay, then slip that on, tighten it up, and then instead of knitting, when we cast on, we're holding in our right hand. I'm sorry, we always hold in our right hand, but I always say when you start a row, you're gonna have your working stitches in your left hand. Usually when we cast on, I like to face the other way. So we're gonna make sure the yarn's attached to our working ball, to our working yarn. And we're just gonna make a loop, insert the loop over the needle, and pull. Not too tight, just enough so they're not super tight. Let me make sure my hands aren't in the way this time. Just loop-a-doop. Pull on the working yarn. Loop. There you go. Okay. And so I'm going to show, remember that first row is always kind of tricky. It's an easy cast on, but it's not a very stable cast on. And so I think we all saw that it was a little hard. So the stitches aren't quite as nice and stable as when we get to that second row. So I just want to show you what it looks like for that first row, because it doesn't quite look like our knit stitches later. But the concept is still the same, except you just have like this basic little cross, because that's all we did was just make a little crossy loop. So you're just gonna go like in from the left to the right, like we do for a basic knit stitch. You know, there's not really anything to say here. I just wanted to show you that that's really all I have going on there is just a loop. It's not really a knit stitch yet. So you're just gonna, you know, we're kind of pretending we're knitting it as if it's a knit stitch, and then it becomes one. But it isn't super stable, but that is what it looks like when you first start. So it's going to be a little easier. The second rows, you kind of have to hopefully not fight with it too much. If you get into a lot of trouble and you're having trouble down here on the needle, you can carefully, without letting it fall off, get it down there. It actually doesn't help too much, because all that happens is that tension gets taken up in that middle part right there. So don't worry too much if that gets long. It just is what happens with this cast on in the first row. It's just a little tight. And then the next row is always much nicer. See, even I have a little trouble sometimes getting it in just so if it gets tight towards the end. There we go. Okay.